Hello, everybody. Welcome to GameSpot After Dark. I am your host, Jean-Luc Seipke. It's Friday. Once again.
Can you believe it?
That over there is Kurt Navina.
Hey, how you doing?
In the middle, Jake Decker.
Kurt's doing some arts and crafts over here.
Sure is. New? Are you just going to draw the whole time?
Yeah. I don't want to be a part of this podcast anymore. Unless I get the draw.
Hey, we're live. For the first time.
For the first second time.
So, okay. Hey, audio listeners. You might be wondering, why wasn't there a podcast last week? We did go live for the first time. And unfortunately, there were some audio issues. And it was unfortunately not salvageable. Jake's mic was basically off the entire time.
Thank God.
It probably would have been a better listen, I think, without me anyway.
For what it's worth, you only spoke
twice.
For like 20 minutes straight about Monster Hunter Y.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to do that again.
No, you would have had to have been there. You had your chance to talk about it. We're not talking about it.
I don't need to talk about it again.
So unfortunately that episode didn't go up. But hey, this one definitely will. I guarantee it.
Unless my audio breaks. But Max is listening. I'm going to talk a little bit. I got a thumbs up. Audio's still good up for now.
If anything goes wrong, I want Max to burst in here with a machine gun
and shoot us all
and fix the problem with brute force.
Yes, excellent.
Come on, go Max Payne mode.
Yeah, what if he kicked open the door and just dove, but he was slow and he's like slow mowing?
But he's like throwing XLR cables at us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and his face is just in a permanent contorted, sort of just squinty, tight-lipped face, and he's gonna be like, "You killed my wife and baby," and then destroy all the audio issues just like that.
Yeah.
So we're going live.
So we're going live. We're live. Hello, everyone listening live, as well as all you audio listeners out there. Should I explain why we're live again? Should we get into that? I was thinking, should I do it at the top or should I do it at the end?
Let's rip.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're live. GameSpot. We're also live on Giant Bomb right now. That's because we've kind of been slowly collaborating, collating our resources, our brain powers into this sort of like one live stream thing that we're doing, that we will be properly revealing the final form of what this all means next week. It's like a little teaser, but yeah, you've been paying attention. We've basically been, working on kind of like taking the shows that Giant Bomb's doing, taking the stuff that we're doing, and sort of like putting it together into one collective stream. And
holy hot shit, do we have a lot of stuff coming your way?
We have a lot of stuff coming your way. In fact, I would say I'll tease it for us. I feel comfortable saying it for us. We've been working on a show specifically for GameSpot.
It has a very surprising, unique name.
It does
that you would never guess.
Yeah, we can't spoil it here though. We gotta.
No.
Yeah. We can't?
No, we can't spoil the name here. Well, I don't care. We can.
Should we do the 2 versus 1 agreement?
Sure. So I have to pick?
I think we can spoil it.
Okay, let's spoil it.
So you lose.
I lose. That's fine.
All right.
I said I didn't really care. So.
All right. It's going to be, we'll each say a part of it. It's called the
GameSpot
Show.
I know, isn't that?
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
How original.
I know. Max clap in the back. He's clapping.
Hey. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. We're launching the GameSpot Show, which is a live show that we'll be doing at least once a week on Thursdays. Give or take. Scout in the back loves it. Very excited for the GameSpot Show. We're going to kind of talk about biggest reviews and previews. It's like a variety show where we can kind of incorporate what makes sense for that week. So maybe it'll be like an interview with a dev. Maybe it'll be like a discussion panel, like whatever kind of works. That's why we call it the GameSpot Show, is because we didn't want to limit ourselves to like, it's the review and preview show, because like, what if we don't have a review and preview to talk about?
What if we don't even want to talk about games?
And believe it or not, it took us like 2 months to come up with that name.
Oh yeah, that is.
Well, it was more like, okay, we just need to pick a name. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, in the end, I do think because
I don't want people to think we were like sitting there being like, "What is it?"
With the whiteboard, just nothing on the board.
we went through. Yeah, we had to have
And then like someone
100
walked up
names.
and just wrote GameSpot Show and circled it like 20 times.
And we were all just exhausted, guns to our head, like, fine, fuck it.
I'm like, yeah, it's
Please,
fine.
That's it. That's the name.
It's just a name.
What was the one that we liked, but we were like, no one's actually gonna want this? Was it like?
Was it?
There was a curse word in there, and that's why we were like, we weren't gonna use it.
Oh well, there was one.
That's bullshit, bro.
Well, that's bullshit, bro.
There was a couple really good ones.
Yeah.
What was?
We found the only good use for AI, I think, is what we're trying to say, because we were trying to come up with names, and I put it in Chat GPT or whatever.
They were all terrible.
And they were all terrible, and I was like, okay, do it again, but use bad words. And actually, I think I have the list. Oh no, my phone's not on me, and I can't reference my phone. Damn it!
Yeah,
We just have to
That's
remember off the
bullshit,
top
bro.
of our head.
That's my favorite.
Your opinion sucked.
Yeah, your
One.
opinion.
Fuck your opinion.
Or fuck your opinion.
Yeah, fuck
That
your
was the one
opinion.
that we wanted to call it, and people were like, "That seems a little aggressive." And we were like,
I mean, for the longest time, I wanted to do an episode of Kurt Locker that was called "Fuck Your Backlog."
"Oh, I
I
remember."
had a really strong opinion over people. I don't know if that's going on the internet still because I'm not on it, but just a long period of time being like, I'm just there's so many games in my backlog. Oh, there's the Steam sale. This means I'm gonna have more games.
So everyone sounds when they talk about their backlog.
Yeah, that's well, to me. And I want to be like, dude, fuck your backlog. Play what you want to play.
Yeah.
If you buy a game and you don't have the compulsion to play it, it's just that's it. That's you play what you're compelled to play.
Yeah.
Forget it. And there's the episode of the Kurt Locker. There it is.
30 seconds long.
It's going to be 30 seconds of me opening a locker, pulling a bunch of shit out, opening Twitter and seeing people like, I bought too many games on the Steam sale at my backlog. Don't fucking just play what you want to play. Boot up Stalker 2 again, Kurt. And just go wander around and step in an acid puddle and die immediately. Be like, well, fuck. And then just boot your game back up. And go again.
Yeah. Play Oblivion for the 10th time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Kurt. except for me, I'm still going through my first playthrough, which I plan to never end.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing with like Elder Scrolls games. They don't really end. No ending.
Unless you see the credits and you get real mad, or you play Fallout 3 and you speed through it too quickly.
Oh, well, that one had an ending.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's fine. I'll be able to go back into the open world. Like, no, you can't.
Nope.
That game ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that. Fallout 3, man.
Fallout 3. It's a video game.
Bad opening.
Bad opening, bad ending.
Bad middle.
I just got to get this out. I don't mean to talk about Fallout 3, but
Okay.
I've tried replaying it last year.
Oh, because I remember because you were like, you said something about it that made me think, oh, I should give it a chance.
Yeah.
And then you were like,
Well, because I played it when it first came out, and I played it for that 10 hours until I rolled the credits and realized I couldn't go any further, and I was like, well, I've made a mistake. But I tried replaying it, and I remember like thinking the opening was fine. You got Liam Neeson,
sure.
or no, is it Liam Neeson?
Yeah, he's your
Yeah.
dad.
He's your dad. But replaying it as like a functioning adult man who's experienced things in life, as in me, and replaying it, I realized how like there's a part in that opening when you turn 10 years old, and maybe I'm a cynical son of a bitch, but when you turn 10 years old in that, your dad, Liam Neeson's like, I'm so proud of you, son, for turning 10 years old. You've made it so far. And I remember playing that again as a 30-something man and be like, my parents were never like, congratulations, son.
Good work.
Good work.
To be fair, you did not grow up in like an apocalyptic bunker.
Sure, but even that...
I imagine turning 10 is probably like, wow.
But even then...
You made it.
It still feels like...
You're still alive.
It still feels like a person's fake memory, where it's sort of like you're like 40 years old and you're thinking back in your life like, I had a good... My dad loved me so much. And you think
He
back,
said, good work.
yeah,
You
good
made it
work.
to
You
10.
made it to 10 years old. Here's a BB gun. There's just something so like...
Yeah.
Just so fantastical and make-believe about that, when in actuality, he was probably like, I need to go work on water.
Well,
Go have that cake and talk to that bully.
I think what
I'm
happened.
cynic.
No. Because I agree with you, and I think this is one of my problems with Bethesda is that like classic Fallout, it uses the 50s aesthetic to like as like a satire.
Yeah.
Because it basically says like, hey, that whole 50s aesthetic was like bullshit. right? That whole idea, that whole mindset was like smoke and mirrors. It was nonsense. And look at like the contrast of like seeing this 50s aesthetic with like a nuclear disaster and how like meaningless that all was.
Which the show does really well.
Which the show does really well, and the original games and New Vegas does really well. Fallout 3 and 4, in my opinion, they play that 50s thing very straight.
Yeah.
Especially 4, where it's just like no, it was better back then. Everything was great.
Good job, son.
And then the bombs ruined
And then the bombs ruined it. And so like I think, and I'm not saying anything new here. People have said this for years, but like I don't think Bethesda fully understood what maybe they were going for in the original Fallout. And where maybe took it a little too straight.
I will say, in Fallout 3, when you're a baby, you can jump, which I think is pretty funny.
Some more make-believe. Jan's clapping. Jan, and the dog's barking. Jan, could you jump when you were a baby?
Let's get a clap for some jumping babies.
Yeah, let's get a jump. Let's get a clap for some jumping babies. Roll the clap.
Yeah,
wait, hold on.
I don't think they have
it's not going to come through.
They don't have that set up.
All right, well, never mind. All right, well, that's because it wasn't that special.
What I was going to say, I kind of like it when games have you start as a kid and then you like quote unquote grow up and you can jump.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first played Fallout 3, I thought that was so cool. It was like, oh, I'm so attached to this character because I've like kind of seen key memories throughout their life. Or Fable was one that
Sure.
That was
like.
the one I was going to bring.
How you started out as a kid, but I think I jumped into Fallout 3 quickly after watching the show, as many people did, and oh god, it's long. It's like kind of rough. Once again, I don't think Bethesda's writing is always the strongest, especially when they're like trying to like exposition dump at you.
For some reason, Bethesda still hasn't understood that like your intro for like your open world game that lets you go anywhere needs to be like so brief, because you just need to like.
Yeah, but remember Fallout 1?
But
were you trapped in that damn cave?
Yeah, and it's like, and no one likes that part. Or Fallout 2, where you have to go do the trial and people mod it out because it sucks. Like Fallout 3, like people mod out the vault or like have a save. Like Fallout 4 does the same thing. Starfield does the same thing. The only Fallout game that has like the quickest intro is New Vegas.
No, it's true. It is true.
The doctor's like, hey, you hit your head. Do you want to go do a test? And you're like, no, I'm good. And then he's like, great, go outside. And you walk outside and like, that is it.
And then you die by a giant wasp.
Yeah, you don't even have to do the opening town quest. You can just immediately fuck off. It's great.
I feel so bad that I got us here.
Yeah, I mean,
this is my fault.
To be fair, I kind of like the slow build before like the open world is revealed to you.
Sure.
Replaying it is never fun though. Is usually not fun.
It's usually not fun. I don't mind Skyrims.
Like, I've played the first part of Oblivion so many times, and that is probably the longest dungeon Bethesda's ever put in anything. At least it feels that way.
Yeah, it definitely feels a little long.
But in hindsight, I like kind of love that dungeon because it's the build up where it's like once I get through the my cell to the ruins to the cave to the sewers, and then I leave the sewers and you're greeted with that lake,
that bloom,
the
bloom effect, the overexposure effect of everything's just like really shiny. It's because you've been living in the sewer all your life, or prisoner, whatever.
Not all your life.
Anyways, how did we get here?
You got us.
I did. This is my fault.
You son of a gun.
I was just trying to complain about backlogs.
Backlar.
Yeah, Jeff Baccalar, if you're watching this, get a grip. I love you.
Speaking of old video games, Kurt, I want to talk to you about a little video game.
Oh, I have it on a card.
Oh, okay. Should we do the card thing then? Would me bringing it up ruin the card thing?
I don't think Kurt knows what. He wrote a game on one side and food on the other side.
Yeah. So we usually these past few podcasts, Jean-Luc's been walking in with an idea or in a bit or in a surprise, and we didn't have one. So 30 seconds before this podcast began, I just had some index cards. And I was like, I'm gonna write games. I had these two say some games, and then I had them say some food that they liked,
and that's it.
So yeah,
but
I don't know what food is in the back of this card.
Okay, let's develop this this bit.
So I've been playing Far Cry 2, which is I've never played a Far Cry game before, ever. I realized after playing Far Cry 2 that I've never actually played an open world Ubisoft game before.
That's crazy to me because that's all they've made for the last like 15 years.
Yeah, I realized that I've never played, and I came to that realization because the cliche and stereotype of all Ubisoft games is that they're fucking cluttered with tons of UI,
towers
tons of check
that you
marks,
climb.
towers. You're like, when you look at the screen, you have waypoints just covering it, telling you what to do. You're not supposed to think when you play those games. I think I wouldn't know that because I haven't played any of them. But then I booted up Far Cry 2 because I think both of you were like, if there's any Far Cry game you should play, it's 2 because it's weird as hell. And it sure is. But the thing I noticed was like, there's no UI. There's nothing telling me where to go. I have to like physically look at my map.
Everything's in world. I love it.
I have to like look at signs and be like a human. And this is a perfect bedfellow to my time with Stalker 2, which is a game about like friction and like not letting you like really letting you figure your shit out. So yeah, I've been playing Far Cry 2 because it was like only like $3 on sale.
Yeah, that's what
I added it to my backlog.
But you're actually playing it.
But I'm actually playing it because I'm a responsible person who likes to enjoy things.
So what do you think?
Oh, it's great. It's bizarre in the way that you pointed out how weird the dialogue is. The dialogue's not so much weird as it is the way it's delivered.
It's like it sounds like it's all sped up.
It sounds like if someone cut out every breath between a word. It's just a vomit of words. There's no pause between sentences. I can't even like demonstrate because it sounds so like unnatural and inhuman.
Yeah, like that first scene where like the villain shows up or whatever, and he's like, you just made it to Africa, and like it's just like
you can't. It's one run-on sentence, just like you just made it to Africa. I'm a bad guy, but I'm a good guy. You're a bad guy. I'm a good guy. Here's a knife. Here's a gun. You're gonna go. You're sick.
You have malaria, by the way.
You have malaria. Bye. And he just shoves a machete in the ground in the wall and disappears. I'm like, this fucking dude needs to chill out. Like, this guy needs to take a breather. Everyone sounds like they're about to shit themselves and they need to go, but while still playing it serious and safe. I don't really know what's going on in the story. All I know is that every single time I meet somebody and I get a thing on screen that says, "This is your buddy," I find it so comical that your companions are called buddies, but not just buddies. But when you meet one, it's just like, "This is your best buddy."
And this is your second best buddy.
Your second best buddy. This is your third best buddy. So there's things like that are really endearing, but damn, games were good. Not saying that games aren't good now, but like that game feels awesome.
What have your buddy interactions been like?
I've only had one, but well, that's the thing.
Okay.
I didn't understand. I didn't understand that like they didn't come with you wherever you went. I was like, I got a buddy. Come on, buddy. Let's go buddy it up. But my buddy is just hanging out in a bar, and it's like, I'll do anything for you. You're the best. I'll be there for you. I'm like, okay, well then come with me. But you can't tell them to do anything. They just tell you how much they love you. But then I was in a really bad gunfight. I had a malaria attack. I had to take my pills. I had to heal. But before I could heal, I had to crack my wrist back into place and pull a bullet out of my leg. And then I like shot myself with a syringe. I was being surrounded on all sides. There was a forest fire happening from a Molotov that I threw. I got downed. And then all of a sudden, my buddy showed up and was like, "I got you, buddy." And he picked me. Yeah. And then there's like a scripted scene and he's shooting people and he throws you a gun. And I was like, holy fuck, buddy. You're my second best buddy. So much. He was the second best one. My first one didn't show up. I don't know what the hell he was doing.
Well, I think the first buddy is the one that'll help you on quests.
And then your second buddy is the one who watches you from a distance.
Yeah.
And makes sure that if you're like, oh, he's, yep.
I got to go get him.
All right, you got down. All right, I'll be right there.
Or something like that.
It's very nice that they like want to give you the buddies don't want to get in your way. Mm-hmm. They trust you until you're down, and then they're like, "Well, I'll patch you back up."
I won't say anything, but I'm very excited because some of my favorite video game moments have happened around those buddies. Even though like I do think like looking back, like that game is like once you see a thing, it's kind of like you it does eventually repeat itself to a point where it's like, oh, it's a little less special now. But like the first time some things happened with those buddies, I was like, oh my God, like it was like,
I love you, buddy.
I won't say anything.
Okay.
It was a real like I had a moment.
Now I wrote a food on the back of the card. I don't know what food I wrote.
Kurt, would you say that Far Cry 2 is the volcano roll of video games?
Ooh, hey, baby. Ooh,
Something familiar, but maybe with a little bit of extra
Kick.
in it. Some peanut butter in it.
yeah. Use some deep fried shrimp, some peanut butter, all wrapped up in a sushi roll. Mm-hmm. Is that an accurate way? You know what? It's unfamiliar, but still familiar.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really make sense on paper.
Sure.
Or like, for example, you look at Ubisoft games, and I see Ubisoft open world games as like this archetypical thing with checklists. I would know because I played all of them. But you see Far Cry 2, and you're like, hey, I know I'm familiar with that, but like it's a little weird, like a volcano roll.
Do you play King Kong, the official game of the movie?
Oh yeah, that is an Ubisoft game, isn't it?
It's by the same director.
Oh well, that dude knows what he's doing.
Wait, that's Clint Hawking too?
I thought it was.
No, I don't think
You don't have your
No,
phone.
Michelle and
Yeah,
Sal.
that's Michelle.
Oh, is it not?
Clint
Michelle
Hawking-
and Sal. Oh,
Clint
no,
Hawking
you're right.
did-
Oh,
Clint Hawking did Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, and then most recently, directed Splinter Cell Chaos
fuck me
Theory.
then. I got that whole thing wrong.
But
And most recently directed Watch Dogs.
But it felt right when I said it, didn't it?
yeah, well, I mean, it's a game with friction that takes
Like
a lot
no
away from
HUD
the
and
player.
takes a lot away. Hey,
Adrian
they're
Brody-
inspired by each
Adrian
other. I don't
Brody's
know.
like 2 bullets left. 3 more bullets. I gotta give a speech for 4 minutes.
That game's great.
King Kong, that game does rule. Is there a piece? Is that on PC?
This?
Shit, can I get it? Is it like a thing? Legally?
That would.
I don't think it's on
Don't
Steam.
think so.
Forget it.
Yeah.
I will have to find another way to consume that game.
Add it to the GOG preservation
Yes.
list.
Actually,
Go
seriously.
in and put it down. Dude, I went and looked at that list, and it is like, there's a lot of games on that list.
I got some more cards.
Okay, great.
Am I reading this one?
Yeah, because you asked for it.
Pokemon Pocket, whatever.
Okay.
Kurt was like, "What have you been playing?" And I was like, Pokemon Pocket."
I was cracking a pack on lunch today.
Yeah,
Oh,
I feel like it's more of like an addiction at this point, where I wake up in the morning and I check, and before I go to bed I check, and
Have you deleted social media yet?
No, I'm waiting to post this Docker doc, and then I'm deleting.
That might be why I'm playing it so much, just because I did delete social media. So I pull my phone. I'm like, "What's this for?" I'm like, "I guess cracking open a pack."
Well, I'm checking both, so joke's on me.
All right. Well.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say about this other than like, yeah, I guess I'm still. They added a new expansion for Pokemon
sure
Day,
did.
which was kind of cool, but it's almost moving too fast. Like
It is.
I want to finish. I know they're probably doing it by design, but I want to like finish my sets before the next one gets dropped, because then I'm in this weird position where I'm like, okay, I should get the newest packs, but I haven't finished the last one.
Yeah.
So then you're splitting your pack points or whatever.
I'm like, eventually it's
Whatever.
going to hit a point where I'm just like, I'm so far behind that I'm just going to give up. And be
I
like,
know, and that's what I'm worried about.
Hold on, but you're cracking packs.
Yeah.
So how do you get behind in cracking packs?
Well, because you want to collect the idea.
You gotta
is, like,
crack-
I want to collect all the cards and the packs, right?
yeah.
do you miss the opportunity to get cards?
Well, the cards are random. It's like it's like card boosters so it's random, like what cards you get.
So what do you do with them?
You can battle.
You can battle with
Yeah,
them.
you can battle. You
That's
can
kinda
trade.
cool.
Yeah.
Like there is an actual game mechanic to it. Like you can battle. And
I don't really do the battling unless it's like, here, there's an exclusive card you get by
I
battling.
didn't at
and then
first,
I'll-
but I actually have gotten a little more into the battling. I'm like, there's just enough complexity and strategy.
I
to
want,
this.
sometimes I think back.
You could have been a pro. You could have been a TCG player pro.
I did play.
At a tournament, right?
Yeah, in Toys R Us.
I also played at a Toys R Us tournament.
Jan's clapping again.
How did
Max
your-
is clapping again.
How did your tournament go? I remember, I think I was like 6. I remember my parents just kind of dropped me off,
Get the fuck out of here.
and
kid.
I like had no idea what to do. I was so socially like anxious. I didn't really know how to talk to people. I played like one game, lost horribly, and was like, okay. And then I just kind of like milled around for a while because I was just like, I didn't really know what to do because there wasn't any like, hey, welcome, like this is what's going
No,
on.
it's
you
a
just
bunch
sit
of tables and
and
chairs,
there's
and you just
tables
show
and
up,
chairs
and a bunch of awkward children.
yeah, and I'm
no
like,
one's supervising.
You're just awkward, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know
I'm pretty sure
what's
I was also dropped off at it.
happening. Yeah, it was basically a daycare at that point. Like,
Yeah.
where they're just like,
I mean,
"All
I
right,
got
bye," like
well. That's the thing. I was under the impression that if you won, you
something.
would get a Mew. I remember it was a Mew card,
Oh, cool.
but I lost many times. I don't even know if I lost or won, to be honest. I feel like I just existed, played cards, and the kids, children just kind of look at each other and don't really interact, or they like, I don't know. I remember like telling a kid he was chewing with his mouth open, and he was like started doing it more, and then I took a bite out of my pizza, and the moment like I was like chewing my mouth closed, but the moment I took a breath in through my mouth, he was like look who's talking. And I was like,
He was just watching you, waiting.
that's like, that was it. I was like, and then I was like, fuck you. And I slapped him as I didn't do that. We probably just sat awkwardly and didn't do anything because we're children and dumb. But I remember like just going up to the table where the woman who in my brain, who in my fake memory is like Liam Neeson saying, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of he was like a woman who didn't want to be there. Her hair was big. It was like a puff. I don't know. And I was like, can I have the Mew card? And she said, sure, and gave it to me. And I was like, but I didn't earn it. She just gave it to me.
Oh.
And at that point, I was just convinced that anybody could walk up to the table
And just say, like, can I have it?
give me that.
She's
And
probably
I'd be
like,
"Here you
sure,
go."
I don't want another kid
Wow,
to
what
cry.
a mess.
I know.
No organization at
I know.
all.
Kids chewing with their mouths open.
I mean, I don't know. I went to Friday Night Magic not that long ago, and that's pretty much the same experience.
What's that? Oh, is it Magic the Gathering?
Yeah, like a lot of card shops do. It's like an official, unofficial thing, Friday Night Magic, where it's like...
Did you call somebody
do
out
it.
for eating with their mouth open?
I didn't, but I'm sure there are opportunities to do that.
That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it stinks a lot. I mean, it doesn't smell a lot.
Did you
but,
walk up
like,
to the table
A lot of
and-
times,
And ask for a Mew card?
yeah. I
You're
did
like,
that.
here you go, kid.
And they're like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I think I'm too. I like can't handle social awkwardness of like seeing other people
I
being
thrive
like
in it.
specifically seeing other people be socially awkward.
Yeah.
So I think I've been to some of those like Magic things, and I go there and I'm just like, you're all way too socially awkward. I can't.
I'm
be
too
here.
socially awkward to deal with more socially
Yes,
awkward
exactly.
people.
Like it's this is my problem, not your
Yeah.
problem. I feel like I would create a bad vibe.
So
if
I get
here.
that.
Is why like I only go when it's like mostly people I know who are going.
Yes.
I only experience that sort of anxiety when I'm watching customer service go bad.
Oh my god.
So that's when I get it, because as somebody who had spent many, many, many years working customer service and have dealt with many different situations and problems, I get a really intense anxiety when I see like when the cooks are backed up and when like people are getting anxious for their food, or when there's clearly miscommunication happening between like a server and a customer. And like when I see it, I can't like turn away. I was in a restaurant just a few weeks ago, and I just saw this, and it's like a small thing, and it's just like this Uber driver was waiting for an order from the kitchen, and they were waiting for so long, and I just like started to get anxious and anxiety. That I was like, I switched seats with my partner. I was like, I can't look at this. I would rather look at a wall. Please, can we move? So I understand that, but when it comes to like social environments where people are awkward and stuff, I don't know, I don't know, I find it endearing. It doesn't make me feel weird. I'm just sort of like, give me a Mew card. Chew with your mouth closed and let's have a good time.
When I was like 19, I went to one and I got kicked out because for a really stupid
chewing
reason.
with his mouth closed.
Well, it's kind of adjacent to that. No, there was a food truck outside, so I went out and I got like, I don't know, a burrito or something like that, and I got ginger beer.
Oh, good.
Because I wasn't
choice.
21. I don't even think they had alcohol if I wanted anyway.
And whatever.
And I went in, and it was like a local comic shop, and I went in, I ate my sandwich or whatever, and I'm holding the drink, and the owner looks at me and he's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "It's ginger beer." And he's like, "That looks like beer. You're gonna have to leave." And I was like,
"Whoa!
What a
I was like,
square.
it's ginger beer, and he's like, "Nice try. Like, you can finish it and then come back." And I was like, "Okay." And I was just outside drinking my ginger beer.
You were 19
as a
years old?
19-year-old.
Hey, imagine just being
I
like,
was like, I'm not even 21.
like-
And he's like, even more of a reason to get out of here.
I would be like, dude, what have you consumed in your life? What do you drink?
Yeah.
Have you never had a carbonated ginger drink?
Yeah.
You twerp?
Yeah, it was very awkward because
You
I
must have had like a experience of that happen.
sure.
I don't know. I've spent my childhood in comic book stores. It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
What's in the back of this card? What food?
albacore tuna.
Well,
I don't know if Pokemon Pocket is that
You're
because I've
cracking
never had
packs,
it.
you're cracking tuna.
Okay,
open,
then there it is.
right?
cracking packs, cracking tuna. Welcome to the GameSpot After Dark.
Yeah, let's
right.
let's not do a pack opening stream. Let's do a tuna opening stream.
I don't. So like, I eat.
Like, oh, there's a Mew in here.
There's a Mewtwo in
I would
here.
absolutely do that, but I would open the bottom and like put in something and then seal it up.
Yeah, you know,
for people to find.
It's just gross and wet and like
People are always
Okay, forget that I said that, so that when that happens in a few weeks to you guys.
people are always putting toys in cereal boxes.
Yeah.
You know, they're putting cards and like they have bubblegum things, you know, wrap, you know what I'm talking about? Like bubble.
Sure.
Yeah. I want to open a can of tuna fish
And there's like
pull
some
out a Pikachu toy.
like maybe like a gift card for some V-Bucks or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the kids to eat some tuna. Amped 3. You didn't even spell this right. Amped, like AMPED. Amped. Amped 3.
Amped.
I've talked about this game on this podcast.
Oh, you have? All right.
Like of years ago, but
Okay.
Amped 3.
You mentioned it,
Well, because you just asked me to name a video game.
and you said,
Amped 3.
"Tell me about."
Because I think about Amped 3 all the time. Amped 3 is a launch title for the Xbox 360. It's a snowboarding game, and it is.
Max is nodding his head.
It
Do you know about
it
that
is-
game? Thumbs up from Max.
I don't know if it's the best.
if Max has
Not a
played it,
great
there's
game, but it's there.
It's what?
It exists.
It exists.
okay.
Sick.
Okay, well, hold on.
So it's a lot better than SSX Tricky.
No, okay, hold on.
Different.
Hold on. I'm not going to claim that Amp 3 is the best gameplay snowboarding game. I do think when you think of like the extreme snowboarding genre, especially like that 2005, 2006 era, Amp 3 is like the peak of all of that. And it's very appropriate because it was probably also like the last one before that genre kind of died. And then everything became like Ground Bray, Gears of
So
War
were there two
stuff.
ones before it?
There were, and they're just straight snowboarding games. They're
Okay.
not that interesting.
So it's not. Is it better or worse than Cool Borders?
It's way better than Cool Borders. Okay, so Amp 3, on its surface, you're like, yeah, but it's a snowboarding game like the other two. But the developers just kind of said like, fuck it, and just decided to like whatever they thought of, they put it in the game. Let's have a cutscene where it's a scrapbook. Put it in the game.
Okay.
Let's have the opening of the game. You're snowboarding in a bunny suit to Blinded by the Light. Put it in the game. Let's have a mini game where you go down a hill on a couch. Put it in the game. Let's have sock puppets doing
What?
a Russian game show. Put it in the game. Let's have a fake ad for mustard. Put it in the game.
So this is that.
Let's have
Gremlins
aliens.
2
Put it
Key
in the
Peele
game.
skit.
It's basically what we've been doing for the last few weeks in video
Yes!
game form.
Yes,
it is.
and
There is live action.
This is how
cutscenes.
you make art.
No, there is literally a moment where it switches to like live action and they have like the villain of that game in like a costume, like a real person, and he's just sitting there in like a room that has a podium that has the AMP2 logo on it for some reason. So I'm pretty sure it's just like a room in their office. And he's like giving like a speech to his minions, and it just cuts to like these chairs, and it looks like, oh, they asked the QA team to just come in and like look bored for a day. And that's the cutscene.
Wow.
It's insane.
But-
It is the most, like, you play it and you're like, this is so weird and creative, and like it is inspiring to me.
Yeah.
I think about that game all the time because
So we
to
should
me,
have it looped on a screen in the
that
office.
is
I would
that
say.
game is the ethos of like, this is how you make art. You do not care, and you just like have an idea, put it in the game. It's incredible.
It's like Tony Hawk's Underground 2, but they were like, we're gonna take it so much further than Tony Hawk's Underground.
Wow.
There's a whole bit
I don't-
about like the villain of the game is like a parody of EA. It's like an evil like video game company called like Colonitronic Arts that like tries to make video games through evil science, and it's just stock footage of like scientists in the 1950s like doing lab tests, and there's like a
What the
man.
fuck?
It's actually an allegory or metaphor for AI art.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
exactly. Yeah. They were really ahead of the game on that one. Like, no, like it's like trying to describe it is like, what are you talking about? This sounds like a fever dream, but it's like that's what it is.
I
It's
wrote
incredible.
something in parentheses that you said.
Problematic stuff. Yeah. So it did come out in like 2005.
It was rated T though.
It was
so-
rated T, but when I think 2005, You know, in the way people go back and look at like old G4 clips and they're like, "Ooh, those haven't aged very well."
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
It's got some of that humor. Like,
Sure.
there's a
But that's everything from that era.
no, exactly.
Everything.
I don't think it is any worse than anything else of that era. It's just one of those things that you look.
You need
back on it
context.
and you're like, "Oh, they're doing."
You're not supporting necessarily that stuff. You're supporting the
There's a
game.
cutscene where there's an Asian accent. He's maybe rolling his R's a little too much, kind
well,
of like that.
Have you ever
kind
seen the
of-
trailer for Bubble Boy?
I know I haven't.
That is
but-
such a problem. Like the trailer itself is
Yeah.
like, holy shit. Anyways, what's in the back of that card?
So anyway, it has stuff like that. But AMP 3. Also, last thing about AMP 3, I'll just say.
Do we have a copy?
We do not have a copy. I have a copy. I will give you my personal copy.
Why I
if
don't have a way to
want
play it.
You have a 360?
No.
Damn it.
Well,
I'll give you my 360.
Is it not back?
We just play in the
backwards
office.
compatible?
We can
It's
stream
So I'm
probably
about
not.
to say, this game, it was a launch title for the Xbox 360, and because of that, when the 360 first launched, digital games weren't a thing on that platform, where eventually everything came digitally. Because of that, that game has never been like digitized at all, so it doesn't exist digitally. It only
permissionist, for God's
only
sakes.
exists on disc. It'll probably never get relicensed because like like that studio went bankrupt after that game came out. Like they don't exist anymore. It was the last game they made, which God bless them. What a game to go out on. 2K probably doesn't give a shit. And it's like the only, and so like it doesn't exist. There's no way to make that
GOG
backwards
preservation.
compatible. GOG preservation, AMP 3, or hey, Phil Spencer, you keep saying how much you care about preservation. One of the greatest games exclusive to your platform. Let's get it back in
When
there.
we all
Make it happen,
and,
Phil.
and also with the soundtrack in its full.
Yeah, when we all play, we all win.
and when we're all
Playing, we're all winning.
we're all playing AMP 3, we're
Yeah.
all winning.
What's the
Anyway,
food in the back?
spaghetti.
Is that an appropriate match? Would you play AMP3 and eat spaghetti?
Spaghetti seems too plain.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
It's not. No, that's a bad one. Anyway,
Maybe like spaghetti, but instead of red sauce, you like put peanut butter on it and like
That's
the
a bunch
volcano
of
roll.
random stuff. Oh yeah.
I gave Jake a card, and this one's actually important.
this one's actually relevant.
This one's
Atomfall.
Hey.
Yeah, I got to check out Atomfall last week. Went to a preview, played about 90 minutes of it. We have my written preview is already up, and a video preview should be up soonish if it's not already up. But I can talk about it here, so don't leave if you're watching live, I guess. But yeah, so Atomfall is like a lot of people comparing it to like Fallout England, not Fallout London. That exists. That's something else. This also doesn't take place in London. And I would say that is somewhat of an oversimplification. Yes, there are a lot of lines you can draw to Fallout. And even when I talked to the director, they said Fallout was an inspiration, particularly New Vegas. However, it plays a lot more like a survival game. It feels, they compared it more, they said gameplay inspirations were more towards Stalker and Metro. So there's no RPG mechanics necessarily. There is a small skill tree and you can unlock different skills. But for the most part, this game is designed to feel like a survival game. And that means you die quickly, enemies die quickly, and you're put in difficult situations that you are supposed to maneuver out of.
To be clear, when you say survival game, you are referring to Stalker versus like survival crafting.
Well, there is crafting, but yeah, not like a
Okay.
Minecraft
You have
or
to eat?
I don't. No, you don't have to eat. So like I said, it is survival light, I would say,
Okay.
and not even okay. Maybe survival's a bad comparison. The more I get to it, I'm talking more like
well, resources are limited, right?
resource. It's more like Last of Us, I would say, where there is crafting in that sense. Resources are limited. It is that sort of like dog eat dog mentality when it comes to enemies and fighting. And I would say overall, I had a good time. I enjoyed it. I'm excited to play more. I think the thing that has me most interested is the quest structure, because rather than just giving you points on a map that you go to and talk to someone and they tell you to go kill these things and then come back, all the quests are kind of obtuse. Like you pick up clues that gently guide you to different locations, and then you need to search those locations to figure out where to go to next. And then once you have the note or whatever, the information that you need, you're kind of looking at your leads, comparing notes, figuring out where to go next. Now, if that type of gameplay does not interest you, you can go into the accessibility settings, turn that off, and it'll just tell you where to go. That's fine. That's what you're into.
That's what Ubisoft needs to do.
They kind of tried it for some
they did.
games.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Actually, I would,
like I
because
think
I played
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you could set it so it'd be like go somewhere on the north part of
But
this.
the reason that doesn't work is because that is a thing they put in afterwards,
Yes.
not design the game around
Yeah.
that concept.
So it's like, talk to this guy who's like somewhere in the north, and then you go to the north and you're like, well, this map is huge. I'm talking about Assassin's Creed.
Sure, yes.
Atomfall. Atomfall, it seems like it was designed intentionally with that in mind. When I was talking to Ben Fisher, the creative director, he was saying, like initially they built the game around like a more traditional quest system, but he said that like the more they were playing around with it and the more they were tweaking things, they found that like taking that information away and letting people figure it out works better. It also helps that like the Sniper Elite games, this is Rebellion's game, by the way, who does the Sniper Elite
Total
games.
whiplash. Of
I
what
know.
they're doing.
Have they done anything else?
They have, but not recently.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like every year or two, there's like a new
I think
Sniper
it's like
Elite.
Zombie Army
I
or
was gonna
something
say,
like that.
But isn't that like a sniper?
It is.
It's like a play on it.
It's like a sub series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sniper Elite.
So it still feels.
Yeah, so this is it's also first person too, which is probably worth saying, which is obvious, but maybe not because their other stuff isn't.
Sure.
But like the Sniper Elite games, though, rather than giving you a giant open world, you get to explore smaller semi-open world maps. So it's a little easier to digest, I would say, when it's like, you need to go to the dam. You look at your map and it's like, it's clearly a dam over here.
Okay.
I'm going to go over here and check it out. It's not like you're zooming in and out and like trying to figure out exactly where you are and where these things are. But there's also some other aspects. There's like a faction system that I didn't really get to see a lot of because I didn't play a lot, but they said that was kind of more inspired by Fallout New Vegas, and how these different factions, you can interact with them. Because one thing I didn't talk about in my preview that I thought was kind of interesting is a lot of enemies won't attack you on sight. It's kind of like they see you and they're like, back up, and like you can choose to engage or you can back up. But if you get too close, they might retaliate. It depends, but I think it depends. I don't know this for sure, but I think it depends on your standing with the faction. Like I think if you do things to piss them off, then it might be on sight. They might just try to kill you right away. But if it's somewhat neutral, they might be like, whoa, back up. Since it was a preview, anytime someone did that, I just hit them anyway.
But they told you to back up.
Yeah. Did you hit them or did you kick them?
I kicked and hit them.
Okay.
Which is one thing worth talking about that I did talk about in my preview. But I think the AI, at least at the difficulty that I was playing at, was not very good. They weren't very intelligent. And I think for me, when it comes to these sort of survival games, I think especially enemy human AI needs to be good. Because if you want that fantasy of sort of that dog-eat-dog world fantasy where everyone's fighting for their lives, if the enemies are stupid, it kind of breaks that. And one thing I found is like any enemy that's got a melee weapon will just rush you. Doesn't matter if you got a gun, doesn't matter if you got an arrow, doesn't matter what the situation was. They seem to just always rush me down. While ranged would stay back, but I could just like break the line of sight. And a lot of times they wouldn't follow up on it. No flanking, nothing like that. Like I said, could be a difficulty setting, that makes them more intelligent. But I found out that if you do a kick and then you do a heavy swing of an axe, it's an instant kill. So I would just find a corridor. I mean, not always intentionally, but I'd find like a corridor and I'd just let them run to me and I'd kick them and bash them and kick them and bash them and kick them and bash them. And I'd do it to like 6 people in a row. And it's like not supposed to be that way. Like 6 people are supposed to be able to kill you. And when I started playing it and I didn't know about that, like I was dying kind of often because I was just, switching weapons, trying different things. And I was like, all right, I'm just kick and hit. So maybe that gets rebalanced when the game comes out. But yeah, I'm super curious. I definitely want to play more. I think there's some really cool ideas that if they nail, I think could make for a pretty unique experience. But yeah, I think like people who are fans of like the Sniper Elite game might be like, whoa, this is not.
They got a Sniper Elite
this
game.
year. I know they've got plenty of them, so they're probably not too worried.
I'm actually like, I think that's super cool to like have a dev who's sort of like, they have their formula, they have their genre and their franchise, like actually go out and like, oh, let's try something different. Like, especially nowadays where I feel like it's so,
for fuck's sake,
like
please.
it's so risky to do that, and like people are just very risk averse. So it's nice to see.
You also said the game, you told me at least, that it kind of gives like a AA feel in a way, or
sort of. I feel like it's probably surpassed AA. I would say maybe not quite like AAA in the way that like Sony and Microsoft put out. Microsoft a little different. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I don't know if it quite hits that like Sony, EA, AAA mark. But I think it's around the same as Sniper Elite. I would say. Like I would say it. I think some of the ideas are probably more ambitious than Sniper Elite, but overall it feels like it's scoped around the same scoped, or around the same level, I would say, as Sniper Elite. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm excited to play more of it. It comes out super soon too. It comes out later this month. Like
I didn't know that.
It comes out March 27th,
I think.
Okay,
for sure.
So I'm sure there'll be more details on that
Cool.
soon.
I haven't seen shit about this game.
Yeah.
But I've been interested since knowing about it.
Yeah.
right.
Or just the idea, or at least there's like the post-apocalyptic thing is such a tried and true, done to death and back sort of formula at this point, that Atomfall for like the split second just looked at least a little different or different enough. And when you say Stalker, and you mentioned your preview, is like there's like detective elements to it, but still retaining some sense of Fallout inspiration per factions. Like those are all like interesting things that I guess I really haven't seen like married yet in a game. So I'm interested, and I'm interested in any studio that has been, to Jean-Luc's point, that has like been so focused and honed in on one kind of game, that anybody who's willing to like take a step out of line and try something different, would like to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's why I'm kind of curious about the story, because the Sniper Elite games, I've never like finished the Sniper Elite game, but I've played a good amount of them, I would say, just here and there to kind of like understand what they are, play a couple missions. And like, you don't play those games for the story ever. Like you play those games because you want to shoot Nazis in the balls.
Yeah. Shoot Hitler's single testicle.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of cool seeing like Rebellion really try to flex those narrative muscles. And like I said, like who knows if that story is actually good, but at least the way they're trying to tell it seems pretty interesting.
Cool. What's the food in the back?
Breakfast burrito. That's one I recommended. I don't know if this game's a breakfast burrito.
Yeah, I asked what your favorite food was. Breakfast burrito.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is like, that's cool.
Yeah. It's very California of me.
Jesus, I know. Christ. But it just was like, I guess I haven't really considered that breakfast, like, you know, do you have a favorite kind of breakfast burrito, an expectation with your breakfast burrito? Because like when I think of pizza, somebody says my favorite food is pizza.
I mean, I guess the ratio is pretty important, right? If there's too much egg, you don't want that. There's got to be potatoes or hash browns or something.
There has
like
to
that.
be. What has to be in a breakfast burrito for it to be?
Cheese, eggs, potatoes, and hash browns.
Potatoes and hash browns?
Yes, both of them.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know.
Sweet.
Meat of some sort. It depends where I'm at. Usually I go with bacon. However,
Chorizo would be pretty good.
Uno Dos. I like their chorizo breakfast burrito the most, I would say. Uno Dos is a place nearby. And salsa, some spicy salsa.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Woo, baby. Jean-Luc's got a card.
Shadows of the Damned.
You finished it.
I finished it.
I thought you froze. You got caught.
Yeah, a few weeks back I mentioned that I started playing Shadows of the Damned. I forget the name of the remaster. Shadows
Doesn't
of the
matter.
Damned. Something.
Boner?
Big Boner Edition. That's what they should have called it.
Yeah.
Shadows of the Damned, a game from 2011. Got remastered last year. Another great Suda51 joint.
Grasshopper Manufacturing.
Grasshopper Manufactured. I would say that game held up exactly how I thought it would. And that's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just like it's interesting. Like when you replay a game, you're like, I wonder if I'm going to feel differently about this game.
That is one of those games that I'm curious whether or not I would feel.
I feel like I went through the exact same emotions that I had the first time I played it, where I was like, this game fucking rules. Wow, this game is sick. This game is so interesting. Okay, it's starting to kind of drag in the middle a little bit. Okay, it's kind of picking up at the end. Oh, this is crazy. And then you get to the actual ending, and you're like, that kind of fell a little flat and felt like they maybe ran out of time. But like,
especially because they like redeveloped that game 4 times.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the development around that game is insane. But yeah, like I pretty much had the exact same mix of emotions and feelings that I had originally. So all to say is like, I guess it holds up in the sense that like, there were things about it that I'm like, this still rules, and there are things about it that I'm like, these haven't aged great, but also I remember not liking that stuff when I first played it.
What's the main character's name again?
Garcia Hotspur.
What is...
Garcia fucking Hotspur. Sorry, I should be full name.
Do you want to do the accent?
No.
Not even try?
It's like, no, I'm not even gonna. No, I'm not. No.
You were starting really good.
No.
Come on.
No.
All right.
It's like Steve Blum doing like a bad like Mexican accent.
Okay, fine. I won't get you canceled over his accent. Okay, but fine. Do you recall a favorite line of his?
I mean, there's the part where he just says, "Taste my big boner," and he just says it like
an accent.
There you go. I just did it. See, when he sang a specific line, I can do it.
So do the line.
Taste my big boner. So there's a scene in that game where, okay, he has a magical gun.
He has a magical boner.
He has a magical boner, kind of. He has a gun. That's like a talk. He has a talking skull that turns into a gun. The talking skull is named Johnson, voiced by the very canceled Greg Ellis. And he turns into your gun, and your gun, your default pistol, is called the Boner. And there's a part in that game where you basically do like a turret sequence where you're on this like a rooftop, and there's like multiple alleyways, and there's CD signs everywhere, and these giant monsters are coming at you, and you have to like go between each lane and like shoot them. And so what you do is you go up to a phone and you call a sex line, and then Johnson like goes to the phone call, and he goes, "Ah!" and then turns into a giant version of the gun called the Big Boner. Also, the name of the chapter is just the Big Boner. And then you hold the gun, like this, like at the pelvis, out, and you fire it. And every time he lands a hit, he says, "Taste my big boner." So you will hear it like 50 fucking times.
Say it.
Taste my big boner.
Sweet.
So that's incredible. I mean, yeah, like that game's got like weird art style. Q Hayashida of Dorohedoro fame and Die Dark did the character design, and it's sick. What's their name? The Silent Hill composer did the soundtrack, and it's also like weird and interesting. Shinji Mikami helped work on that game.
He was a producer, and when I got the chance to speak to Shinji Mikami and Suda.
Damn, that's cool.
At Gamescom, and I don't know, maybe it was just the day, maybe it was just me, but the entire interview, Shinji Mikami was just like.
I mean, to be fair,
and then
pretty long flight.
And then I was like, hey, like I know you produced the original game, but what do you do? Like, is there anything you're trying to help out or do with this game? And he just was like, no.
Yeah, they just asked him to come out.
And then Suda was like, he's here for promotion. I'm like, got it.
I mean, to be fair, I'm curious like what his level of involvement was in the original game.
I mean, it seemed pretty pivotal.
I think so. Because it's interesting because I feel like that era was very much like, Shinji Mikami, you should make a game like Resident Evil 4 for us. And like, this game definitely, you look at it and you're like, oh, this is when like Resident Evil 4 was the most popular thing, and everyone was trying to emulate it.
It was actually Dan Riker who pointed out to me, because I was when I did the preview, I had a similar sentiment, but Dan was the one that pointed out. I was like, actually, it's like this is the point when Resident Evil was at its worst. Like Resident Evil 6 had come out by this point, and I was kind of like blown away by it.
That's a good point.
Shadows of the Dam was like still kind of trailing in a way, or like maybe still picking up the flame in a way. Of what Resident Evil 4 felt like, even though Shadows of the Dam is, and Resident Evil 4 2 as well, is like much more action focused, but it was an interesting thing to think about.
That's a really good point. My brain, they're much closer.
Yeah, no, I agree. I had the same exact thing.
They're really not when you think about it. Yeah, I mean, like the game held up as well as I thought. Like the combat is like fun, but it's like like a little messy. The controls are kind of like a little floaty.
But how does it all feel together?
I think it mostly feels pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just like where it drags is just. Like, I think the middle just kind of, like, is a little slow, and you're kind of like, okay. there's not much story to it. It's mostly just like
Girlfriend
taken
to hell.
I mean, the majority of that story is you're just watching her get murdered over and over. It's like very
While she
grindhouse torture.
runs around in
like lingerie. Yeah, that game is very, I would say, mean-spirited towards women in a very like 2010, 11 kind of way. That I'm just like, some of this stuff's not great, if I'm being honest. But I mean, like, I also think it has a lot of those like Suda-isms that I think are just like such a hallmark of him and his style of humor that to me, like, I think most of it holds up pretty well. Like, there's a lot of good humor, good irreverent humor, a lot of fourth wall jokes,
Good boner jokes.
a lot of boner
really
jokes.
like high class.
It's just like,
highbrow boner jokes.
Yeah, like your grandma's gonna love these boner jokes.
Oh man, let me call her. Grandma, do I got one for you? Have you heard this? Taste my big boner.
But it was fascinating playing it because then I actually went back and looked up the level in Travis Strikes Again.
Yeah, which I still need to play.
That is
I have it.
homage to.
You know
that
what?
game.
I have Travis Strikes Back.
It's on your backlog.
It's in my fucking backlog.
Yeah. I was. It's funny. I was telling this to Max the other day because we were actually talking about like Suda games and.
Is that true, Max? Can you confirm?
I can confirm.
Okay.
There you go.
Would have been bad if you couldn't.
Yeah.
I know. I look like a fucking
Kicked
idiot
off
over
the
here.
podcast.
Kurt, I absolutely think you should play that game because I think you would get a lot out of it. But that is one of the hardest games I have recommending to like most people because I actually think that game is brilliant. It's like basically autobiographical about like Suda and his career. And it's very self-reflective in a way that if you know who Suda is and you followed him in his career, it's really fascinating. And he is very experimental in a lot of ways. Actually playing that game is kind of a fucking slog.
The punchline is I bought that game ages ago, installed it on my Steam Deck. This is before I had a PC, and I know the game was available on Switch, but I just decided I was like, I want it on Steam Deck. I've been playing.
Yeah.
I've been using my Steam Deck more. And it just like black screened on me
Oh.
and couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. I couldn't figure it out. I was like trying different protons, all this shit.
Part of it. You got to get past that.
Oh, that's part of the slog.
pain.
The
Yeah,
opening,
yeah,
the opening
that's-
15-minute black screen where you hear all the audio and you don't see any gameplay. It's really experimental.
Yeah, really experimental.
So I ended up like refunding it and
That sucks.
didn't touch it. So I have rebought it since.
Okay.
Getting a proper PC, and I was going to play it that way, but Far Cry 2
Sure.
is the thing that
Yeah.
Just add it to the
I think
backlog.
I
You'll
just
get there
add it to the
eventually.
fucking backlog.
You are, of all the people, I would be like, Kurt, I think you are the most equipped to like appreciate what this game is like doing and saying.
If I don't.
and maybe also being able to like put through some of its like bullshit.
Oh, I put through some video game bullshit before.
Exactly. We've both played Deadly Premonition
Oh yeah, and I've played it multiple times.
Oh, I have
all
too.
the way through.
on multiple systems.
I was brushing my teeth the other morning, thinking about a conversation you and I had about games and story and the marrying between the two.
Oh.
And how I was like, you know what? I would defend Deadly Premonitions. I'll make this very brief. I had this whole thing about like stories and games and like how they often conflict with each other depending on what time. But as like I do, my whole thinking is that everything has to be in tandem with a game, even if that means the story is weird and not good. It can be balanced by what the gameplay itself is trying to accomplish. And Deadly Premonition is one of those things where like the gameplay is so janky, it's so weird, it's so archaic. The story is so janky, so weird, and so archaic, and in the weirdest unintentional way that those things married together like make an experience that feel good together, and therefore
completely agree.
a good game. So,
1000%.
anyways, that's just my
Anyway, so Shouts the Damned. It's a pizza.
and.
No, I would say it is specifically like that. It's that 3 a.m. pizza you get where you're like, this is what I need, and you eat it, and you're like, yeah, this is great. And then you keep eating it, and you're like, maybe
But then you
this
get
was
to
a
the end.
mistake. But by the end, you're like, yeah, that was good. It was.
Yeah,
worth
you
it.
wake up in the morning, you're like, you know what? I'm glad I had that.
Glad I had that pizza. So that's yes.
You like pizza?
Yeah, I like pizza.
yeah, I like pizza. We don't have much more time, but do you want me to go through the two more cards?
Yeah,
I have?
I'm at least curious about them.
I do want to say something about Monster Hunter. I was gonna give an addendum to what I said last week, but I guess no one heard that except for the people live. But I was just gonna say now that I've made
I don't
it
even know if they heard it, to be honest.
now that I've made it to the end game and because I have been playing it a lot, it's a little light. I wish there was a little more at the end to keep me going. You know,
I know that's how Max Blumenthal feels.
Yeah, I feel like there's like 3 or 4 monsters that like you just keep fighting, and I was expecting like a big bad monster.
Is that true, Max?
Very hard agree.
Yeah, very, very hard to agree. That said, like mechanically, it's still fun. I'm having fun grinding out like my Arterian weapons and stuff like that. But I don't know what I'm grinding for other than just to like to streamline.
They
my
add Devil
build.
Joe in the game in like a month or whatever.
Devil Joe?
There's a monster called Devil Joe.
Devil Joe.
Super hard.
I'm Devil Joe.
But I mean, I guess that's what I'm.
Joes. I'm Devil Joe. Come on.
I guess that's what I'm playing
Yeah.
it for, is to like get ready for that stuff. So I think it's just like I just want more, and there's not more right now, but there will be. So
I hope they treat it the way they did with World, which is like they were pretty consistent about like constantly adding new things like every week.
put
or
Geralt
two.
in it again.
Put
Is that a
Geralt
thing
in
that
it.
happened before?
Yep.
In World, yeah.
Yep, they put Geralt in it.
Put who do you want in it?
Do I want in it?
Yeah, who do you want?
Alan
Leon,
Wake.
Leon S. Kennedy.
How did I write myself into this shit? Oh, like what am I gonna do?
They like putting Capcom characters to like put Leon in it. Yeah.
That's
And you like suplex a monster.
Yeah. Hey, it's that dog.
Pulls out his giant sword.
Are there dogs in?
There's a dog-like monster called Odogaron. Maybe he'll say, "Hey, it's that dog." And then,
Hey, it's that.
And
dog.
hopefully they got to get Nick back in there, you know?
Yeah, get Nick Espelettus to go back in and do his most iconic lines.
Yep.
Rather than taking him from the game already that he's recorded, have him do it again.
Mm-hmm.
He could do some motion capture work for one of the monsters, for Sloppy Joe, Devil Joe.
Sloppy Joe.
I have one more card, but I'm not going to talk too much about it. But
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. The food is
that's the food of Monster Hunter.
cream cheese bagel.
Is that's Jean-Luc's?
I had that this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's Jean-Luc's favorite food.
I don't think it's actually my favorite food.
I said, "What's
You
your
were just
favorite
on the
food?"
spot.
You said pizza, and I was like, "Come up with another one," because I already wrote pizza down.
Yeah, and so I was like, what's the first food I can think of?
Cream cheese bagel. You can eat that all day.
It's not actually my favorite food. I love a good cream cheese bagel.
But is it Monster Hunter?
No.
What's Monster Hunter? What food would you?
A steak.
Don't say the food that's in the game. That's
It's
a,
not-
I was going to say cheese on naan bread, because that's the
beef on weck.
Beef on weck. Yes,
Beef
this
on
is the
weck.
beef on
Shout
weck.
out to Buffalo, New York.
There you go.
Monster Hunter Wilds is the beef on weck. The last card that I have was Robocop Rogue City.
Okay.
Because
Because they just announced an
we
expansion.
got really good news yesterday. Because one of my favorite game experiences.
I should go play that game.
It's
I've
good.
never played
It's
it.
on sale.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I bought it last night.
Okay.
I double dipped.
Is it good on Steam Deck? Is that a good?
Oh, I don't know yet.
I think I played it on Xbox.
I played it on Xbox, and then
Okay.
I
Well,
got it on
doesn't
PC.
matter. I'll pick it up.
I love that game so much. Like, I think my most anticipated game this year is the expansion for Robocop Rogue City.
Looks great.
But the food that I have written on the back of this,
Chicken enchilada lasagna. Let's go.
which if anybody's a culinary expert out there, please tell me why that exists. Why does chicken enchilada
Yeah, send us pictures
lasagna?
of chicken enchilada lasagna.
Max, do you like chicken enchilada lasagna?
I don't know what it is, but it sounds wet. Very wet.
Is that just? Would you say RoboCop accurately that works?
Fuck no, because
Okay.
I find the
Because to
concept
me, RoboCop's like multiple things that feel like they shouldn't work, but they do, and it's amazing.
more like a volcano roll.
Yeah, but like
Then
chicken
chicken
enchilada
enchilada
sounds like
lasagna.
multiple things that shouldn't work, but
And
it
don't
doesn't work.
And I will never know because you can't make me eat it. I don't even want to look at it. And again, if you invented it, don't talk to me.
All right,
If
well, you can hit up our PO box if you want to send Kurt a chicken
Yes, I don't-
enchilada,
Hey,
whatever.
Get a wet box.
yeah. Hey, chat. Don't at me because you can't. So go send me a letter. Mm-hmm. I'll get a PO box so you can
There you go.
mail me a something wet.
And with that is our time. Thank you everyone so much for listening. This has been a good episode. This is good. They came together. Really came in here being like, what are we doing? And Kurt, your cards, they save the day.
Just ask what games you're playing and then ask for foods. And then
Exactly.
figure it out.
Sometimes it's just that simple. Thank everyone so much for listening. As always, we appreciate our audio listeners, and hey, we now appreciate our new live listeners. If you listen to this audio, live viewers, if you listen to this audio only and you would like to hear us live, see our faces, put a face to the voice,
Get a job.
like that one person who thought I was bald.
Is that true?
Yes. What somebody wrote
Was
it.
it because Jean-Luc? They were just
No. They were like, I've never seen what Jean-Luc looks like, and I thought they were like an aged, bald 40-year-old, and I was like,
Only
wow.
to find
thank
out that you have the Kurt Russell locks.
I know.
With magenta.
And I'm like 32. Like, oh god.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, if you want to hear and see us live, you can do that over on all sorts of places. GameSpot, YouTube, Giant Bomb YouTube, Giant Bomb and GameSpot Twitch, all those places. Every Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. But if not, we always appreciate your support, even on the audio version. Thank you very much, everyone. And hey, that is it. We're the closing for the week. We end the week. Isn't that exciting? So yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Remember, GameSpot show.
Right, Thursdays.
Next Thursday. Please tune in for that. Very exciting.
Yeah, I
10 a.m.
myself.
It's true.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's true, you did. Me and Jake will be back next week. Kurt will not, because Kurt's out of town.
Damn right I am.
So, I don't know. Me and Jake will do something. I think we're going to build like a Lego set
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
And then eat
Figure
it.
it out. And then we'll eat it.
Yeah.
One piece at a time.
We'll put it inside we'll make it into a chicken enchilada
Lasagna.
something, lasagna. All right, everybody. See ya.
Thanks, folks.
See ya.